Alright, well I am back. Do a bit more work. Alright, so the next thing is the bots depend on the creating player to actually exist. And that's not a good thing. So like if you spawn some bots and then disconnect it from the server, bots are screwed. So let me see, where was it that we actually, it was inside of like level utils. There's like a spawn bot. Alright, so it's this activate for local bot player. So let's go figure out where that actually is and what it does. All right. So let's see here. We've got spawn actor, and then we activate for local bot players. So that is on the player proxy actor. Let's just check out a whole bunch of this. So activate for local bot player. All right, so local player controller, where is this used? So this local player controller is that sort of thing, but we need like a the player controller that we've got is a bot player controller or something like that. Set AI controller, set player proxy, AI controller, net AI controller. All right, so I guess maybe we need local player controller to be set in here. And what we'd want to do inside of our level utils is activate for local bot player, pass in null pointer. Okay, so let's see if this works. Alright, so what is this net AI controller then? It's replicated, that's true. So get player controller. So I guess that's not going to work. So let's see. It'll have to be where like this local player controller or any of these things are called. We'll have to see exactly why the entities aren't updating. Activate for local bot player. God, what a mess. What a mess this whole actor is. Good thing it's not what all of our players are. It is. It's what happens when you design a system inside of a system you don't understand. You just make mistakes. But whatever. It's not like I tried to make it all shitty. It's just that it ended up that way. Could have spent more time designing it, but then we probably wouldn't. It'd probably be even worse. Alright, well, I need more caffeine. Alright, so let's boot this up and play with one of the bots. So, spawn a bot, and he's not going to do anything. So we want to go figure out why. So it's going to be a player logic object, all this sorts of stuff. We go inside our AI. So let's see, is it on update? On update doesn't even get called. Alright, so it's going to be inside of our C++ or something like that. It's a logic object. Let's go to the update. Okay, so that's getting updated. So just nothing is getting called. I mean, the damn thing exists, right? He exists, and like things happen to him and all that. We don't have like some ridiculous output log going. Okay, so it's this locally owned is returning false, so Dashkin entity actor is locally owned is returning false. Activate for local player. So false. Hmm. This is a freaking mess. So let's see, it's this. I mean, set locally owned isn't being set, like, anywhere, is it? So why is local false here? If local player controller does not equal null pointer, local is true. Where the fuck did the level utils go? Alright, so it should be here. Hello, Chris Coca2. You're starting your day of coding? Very good. I'm not at the start of my day. I was on earlier for about 4 hours screwing around with stuff. Got pretty tripped up by trying to set the icon for the game, which you'd think would be really simple, but is actually broken inside of Unreal's command line build stuff, so I had to go rip open how the entire Unreal build system works. And that's not a very fun thing to do. Alright, so local should be there. Yeah, it took me a couple hours to figure that one out. Basically what was going on was they have a deploy step which the editor calls, but the command line stuff doesn't call. And the only thing that deployment step does is set the icons properly. And I had to go rip it open. There are a couple issues, like the icon that was made by the artist was not properly created, so I had to go, actually export proper icon with all the right stuff on it and track that down. Because icons are really screwy with Windows. Like, Windows aggressively caches icons on everything, so you might have properly configured your icon, but it's not going to look proper. But yeah, basically boiled down to I changed the actual cook and the stage step to write the icon instead of the post-deploy step, because the stage step should write the icon. There's no reason to have a post-deploy step write an icon. It's like, if the build is staged, it's ready to go. Why are you screwing with the resources inside of the actual executable after it's staged? Like, that's not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to stage means this is the final product, and if you're editing the executable, it's like, well, I hope you didn't digitally sign that thing because your digital signature is now worth nothing. So right now I'm trying to fix how some of these bots were depending on the player that created them to still be connected to a game to run properly, even though the player could have been a client of a dedicated server which doesn't have a player. It's stupid. You're trying to Stingray is a complete joke. What? The API is really good, but the engine is trying. Well, I haven't messed around with any PlayStation stuff, so I can't really. I don't have a good base of reference for that. So what do you mean the engine is it trying to be the equivalent of a PS1 game engine? Because all I know about PS1 game engines is that like all the 3D stuff in game engines back then was just totally trash. All right, so bots are now setting to local. Are they moving? Are they running around? All right, punch me, you bastard. I'll beat you up until you get angry enough to hit me. Ah, see, he can't hit me. He's really trying. Pentium core programming? Like, it's just real. It's too low level. Like, they got a really good API, but there's. It's too. It's kind of like OpenGL back like 10 years ago, where it's like, all right, cool, we have all the raw stuff and it works, but it's. We're going to use DirectX because they gave us the easy mode functions of like create perspective matrix, look at, blah, as opposed to, well, you have to push this matrix and this matrix and this matrix, and if you do it in the wrong order, it doesn't matter. You know, it's completely fucked, and you'll never figure out why unless you know all the math. Versus DirectX, where it was like, all right, here's the standard. Unless you're like super graphics dude, this is the function you use, and just don't do anything else. Because that's one of the nice things about Unreal is that they wrap all that crap up for you. So it's like, I need a thread. All right, we have our own implementation of threads. You know, sockets, we have our own wrapper for sockets. Everything wrapped. So the thing is, we have these player controllers, and the player controllers are the things that are sending messages. Bots are always going to run on the server, though. So, like, these are player proxies. So if we go to our logic object, we should be able to go to, like, our high hit or low hit active. Let's just go to high hit active and get player proxy. Get player controller. All right, so where are we actually using this player controller? Yeah, exactly. It's like, all right, cool, let me just pound if every single platform I'm going to support here and create a generic wrapped thing that works across all of them because I know everything about all of that. No, I don't want to do any of that crap. All right, so player proxy is getting thrown into the header, which is fine, but player controller is the target for this. So the reason is we're having to call server high hit ball, which is over here, which does things. It's not that. Crap. Alright, so the reason we need this player controller is because of all these actions which are inside of the player controller blueprint. God, I gotta move everything, don't I? I mean, what I could do is just get any fucking player controller and call it. But that's an even worse hack than anything else. I could create a server player controller. Yeah, the main thing is that the player controller is just inside of this stuff. It's not really that difficult to kind of pull some of this stuff out. It's more of that, where should I put all this? Because we got the nice messaging here. It would be we'd have to move this somewhere else. Like, we still would need all these hookups because those Dashkin player controllers are our means of communicating with the server. So we need something in here that proxies into something else, regardless. So the question is, should we make something else that does all this crap and just do like a fetch? Fetch like a server player controller. I like the idea of a server player controller, but I doubt you can actually make one. That's kind of one of the annoying things, is there's no like static global send message to server sort of function thing. Because that's kind of what I want, is just, I don't want to own this thing. I just, like, here's a set of variables, just go send it over to the server. Like, it's fine that it's not owned by an actor, but everything has to be owned by actors because that's just how Unreal works. So how would we pull all this out? What am I trying to do? Well, the issue is I have all of my hit logic proxied through the player controller because that's the actor that the client actually owns that I can do stuff with and call across. I guess I could put it on a different actor. Kind of the proxy actors, but the proxy actors don't. The player proxies exist, yes, but it needs to be on the server. Yeah, I'm kind of screwed for a lot of this. We could pass it all through the level. That would be the other option. It's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, I'm not trying to change the functionality. I'm just trying to change the dependency on having a player controller. That's all. I'm just thinking about the best way to migrate this system to something not so stupid, because what I should have done is not had these events going through the player controller. Well, they need to go through the player controller, just because that's the only way you can actually call this crap. Not true, though. We can call it on anything. And it looks like it's already, like, on entity struck. Are we using ourselves anywhere in here? No. At least there's that. Yeah, we're probably not speaking same languages there, Chris Goku. Because I'm thinking about like all the other systems that I've got and what dependencies are already in place. And I can't just throw in the player proxy because the player proxy is not created from anything that the blueprints work with, so I'd have to re-implement everything in C++ if I wanted to put it in there, and I don't really want to do that. So it's more of, do I create another blueprint which contains all this logic and just throw it in there, and then it's like, oh yeah, make sure to add this player shims actor to everything. Which really is the level right now. So it's like, how much crap do I want to throw into the level? Because level's already got all this stuff and controls the game state. Do I want to put all the player shit in here too? I mean, maybe. How do these event graph things work? Like, I haven't ever used multiple event graphs. But I can't just, like, add another begin play, can I? Yeah, it'll throw it over there. So maybe I could just throw it in a separate event graph here so it doesn't crap up, like, the level event graph. No, I'm not thinking about performance, and I'm not thinking about hits probably the same way you're thinking about hits. Hits in this thing are actual, they're not like physics collisions or anything like that. It's our own custom code that's detected a hit, you punching a player using our own stuff. So it has nothing to do with like on hit or something. So I'm pretty sure we're not speaking anything near each other at this point. So if I make a hit interactions graph and we just have, like, we get our level actor and then we call everything on there, and we move all of this stuff over there. Like, we could move everything basically. Well, yeah, none of this stuff uses self or anything like that either. It's all just... Well, this uses self, update ping. Well, I guess just get moving. That's too tightly ingrained. Oh, really? It doesn't implement server browsing? That's why you got version control. Grab all that code that you wrote before. Yeah, I basically have to move everything from this player controller to the level if I'm going to do it this way. Well, pretty much everything. Well, I could try moving it one thing at a time and preserve all this stuff. One hit at a time is probably the best way to go. Oh, you don't have an SSD? Yeah, that's not fun. I would not do development on a non-SSD machine. That just sounds like a waste of time. Well, I gotta put all this somewhere, so we need to like get level actor, but we'd want to cache the level actor if we're gonna do that every single time. Crap. Yeah, a lot of this also has to do with we never were supposed to have bots to begin with, so I didn't really worry about it when I was making this stuff to begin with. And the like the logic object stuff is not actually on an actor, it's on a U object, which greatly screws up all this crap because the U object doesn't have, you know, any other replication stuff on it. Well, putting it on the level will work, but son of a bitch. Is that any better? Is that a better place to put it? Or should I just make an entirely new actor and have the level spawn that actor, have it be a shim, and just be like, here, it's a shim, but it's a self-contained shim, like stuff, as opposed to also having the level actor be a giant piece of crap too. It's probably best to push it off into something else, just so it isn't. So it's kind of a pile of garbage, but at least it's a pile of garbage that is entirely a pile of garbage instead of some pieces that are good and some pieces that aren't. Just being like, nope, this thing's trash. Don't try to fix it. Just leave it alone. It's probably the best way to do it. So if we've got like our level actor here, so let's make a duplicate of that, and we'll just have just do Dashkin level shims actor, and that should be good enough. So we'll proxy all the stuff we have to through it, and it'll work, and we're not going to redo the entire architecture for everything. But at least we're not going to go fuck up the level actor at the same time. We'll just keep it self-contained pile, as opposed to the not self-contained pile. So all this stuff will be in blueprints, which is fine. We're going to need an accessor method. Alright, so it's probably easiest to just throw this stuff on the game instance for a global, since that'll help us out. So we'll just return that pointer. And we'll also need a register. You're building the source engine right now? So I'm a bit unfamiliar with what exactly you're trying to do. But are you trying to get your game running inside of multiple different game engines at the same time? And I haven't messed around with the source engine ever. Alright, let's see if this will let us do this. Yeah, well, you gotta spell actor properly. UE4 documentation is trash or is trash. Yeah, UE4 documentation is okay. It's at least readable, but that doesn't mean it's accurate. Yeah, DLLs that are only good for Windows, that's kind of one of the core tenets of even using a game engine, is that they do all the work of making sure it runs on Linux and Windows 7 and Windows 8 and Windows everything. Yeah, I'd say the big two are Unity and Unreal 4. Like, Unity is if you're going to be doing a simple VR thing, or you're going to be working on mobile, and kind of Unreal 4 if, or Unity if you're kind of just in a smaller scale project, or Unreal 4 if you're a larger studio. At the same time, Unity is not a bad decision regardless. Like, people have even shipped, like, City Skylines is built in Unity, and you're like, well, what the fuck? They made a city simulator, something that needs super specific, highly optimized simulation engine stuff inside of Unity and C#? Like, yeah, they totally did it. So, I don't know. Yeah, let's just get rid of that crap. Why is this all angry at me? I don't think it should be angry at me. It should be okay with me. Yeah, the thing with large studios in Unity, my only experience has been that kind of the larger studios tend to just start re-architecting everything inside of Unity to be something else, and it turns into a fucking mess. It's like at Amazon, some of the guys got the amazingly brilliant idea of just remaking the entire prefab system. It's just like the entirety of Unity is built around these prefabs. Like prefabs are contained objects. They're like blueprint actors in Unreal. No, we're gonna make our own version of everything. Fuck. Alright, guys. And then promptly blow everything all to hell. I wouldn't say it's worth it to. I mean, with Unreal 4, it's one of the big strengths that I see is that you can actually dig into the source code and go do things because you don't have to understand the whole game engine to modify things as long as they're structured. Like with Unreal 4, I needed a pre-update tick loop sort of thing, and I was able to just go into, like engine.cpp, add another enum inside of their updates, and make sure it gets called first. And like you don't have to understand how everything works to just be like, well, I can add just another step here. That's not a problem. But yeah, I think that was another issue with Amazon was we were using Unity, but we hadn't actually like signed the contract with Unity to even be able to use it until like we were a month before shipping the game. It's like, what the hell were people thinking? So let's make our level shims actor. Let's call this BP level shims. And let's get like some super stupid picture for a thumbnail. And a picture of wood too, because that's what we got. We got nothing. Everything's crap with this blueprint. You can't even capture a fucking thumbnail. Can you please save that? Thank you. There we go. So you have to save it to capture a thumbnail. That makes perfect sense. Absolutely perfect sense. Alright, so inside of the begin play of this guy, if we have authority, we're